Do you remember the time your opponent took a lead over you in a game and you were trying to figure out what to do next? Well, this is what Donald Trump's condition is right now. With the entry of Kamala Harris in the presidential race in the US, the lead Trump gained over Biden in the polls is gone. So, Democrats' presidential nominee Kamala Harris, who has been long underestimated, has essentially transformed the contest. And with her energetic campaign, Harris has been drawing roughly even with Trump in many polls, and this is bothering Trump. His response has been a series of ill-framed attacks. As he's essentially struggling to land on an argument, we can actually counter Kamala Harris. Reports say that Trump has become so comfortable with campaigning against an 81-year-old Biden that now he's struggling to articulate his thoughts against Harris. And tables have turned because now he's in a race against a black woman who's 20 years younger than him. So it is becoming difficult for Trump to change gears. After the failed assassination attempt, Trump thought that the White House deal was sealed for him. Republicans were almost certain to return to power. But the fact that Harris is now drawing large and excited crowds, it is rattling Trump. And this is visible in a series of actions he's taken recently. He posted on X for the first time in nearly a year, unveiling a barrage of online ads. The desperation is so high that he even accused Harris's team of using AI to make her crowds appear larger in photos. And then he quickly scheduled 2 trips to swing states and beefed up his team of top advisors. Another desperate attempt was the Musk-Trump interview held earlier this week. Many advisors are now urging Trump to focus more sharply on issues such as economy, inflation, and border security, because these are the areas where they see Harris as particularly vulnerable. And now Trump is scheduled to hold more rallies and push for a stronger campaign against Kamala Harris, who seems to be riding on a wave of excitement, as she has been receiving an influx of new volunteers and campaign cash ever since she joined this race. So for more on this, we are now being joined by our White House correspondent, Rohit Sharma. Thank you, Rohit, for joining us. Could you please explain to us what factors are actually contributing to the apparent decline of Trump's campaign?
Thanks for having me. I think there are multiple things that has happened. I mean, in the earlier part of the summer, nobody had imagined that Donald Trump would be struggling in this campaign. I think after the assassination attempt, it was some pundits said the election was won and Donald Trump was going to win that election. But I think ever since Biden ended his candidacy, elevating Harris to top of the ticket, we've seen the race change. Harris has energized the Democratic base. She's obviously closed the polling gap. Today, we had a new poll come out where she's leading in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. And if she were to win all those 4 states, she's going to be winning at least 286 electoral votes. So I don't think Trump has given up as yet. I think he's trying to find ways to fight back into the campaign. But at the same time, we know Trump is a poll guy. He loves to talk about polls. He loves to talk about the crowd size. And I think he was having a smooth run up until Kamala Harris became the Democratic nominee. And I think after that, I think we've seen him lose steam, and that's visible from some of the things he said on the campaign and also in the interviews.
So let's talk about the evidence that Trump's messaging is losing its effectiveness.
Yes, I think he as I said, he wasn't expecting an uphill battle. We've learned from some sources close to Trump's campaign that he did not want to fight Kamala Harris. He said he'd already beaten Biden, and to a point where he's saying that it was a coup against Joe Biden, and he was forced away from the president. I mean, from the candidacy. So I think Trump's not liking this battle. He's faced backlash for targeting Kamala Harris over her race, her intelligence, her laugh, and he's sort of moved away from his core messaging, which when he was fighting against Biden was Biden's mental health, his competency, I mean, his age. I think that fared pretty well among all the voters in the US. But now that Kamala Harris is the nominee, I think his messaging is faltering, and the personal attacks that he usually makes and makes fun of his opponents, it's not landing, and that has led to some anger and panic within the Trump campaign. And it's not a done deal yet. I mean, politics is a long game. I'm pretty sure we all know that. But definitely, there are people who believe that his campaign is going through the most challenging time in the past 1.5 years.
So, what do you think? Kamala Harris's current momentum, will this be sustainable in the long term?
Look, Kamala Harris, when she became the nominee, or when Biden announced he was backing out, people started coalescing around her. We saw the party quickly making sure that she becomes the nominee. And ever since that, there has been definite momentum with Kamala Harris. Now, next week is the Democratic National Convention. Usually, after the conventions, you see some more bump in polling. But again, I think there are times where I want to remind our viewers that she hasn't been tested yet in terms of mainstream media hasn't really, done a lot of reporting on her record. We'll probably see some of that before the debate that she has agreed to do on September 10th. And after that, and how she fares well in the debate will be a big factor in this campaign. So for now, I think, it's kind of an extended honeymoon period for her campaign. She has energized voters. A lot of African American voters want to vote for her. Minority voters are trying to see if, they can be enchanted again to vote for Democrats. So that is there. But can she sustain the momentum? I think that will completely depend on how she plays her cards, especially against on the debate stage against Donald Trump. And then what kind of attacks is she ready to weather from a very supercharged Republican extreme super PACs that are going to leave no stone unturned to make sure that Donald Trump wins this election.
Okay. And how do you think this current political dynamics will influence the strategies of both campaigns, moving forward?
It's a seesaw campaign up until at this point in time. So there's a ever-changing drama in this campaign. I think for Harris's campaign, they would probably want to sustain where they are and not change too many things and not do too many things. And it's a good sign when you don't have to. You can just stay on message and keep doing what you're supposed to do. Hence, we're seeing all the polling data favoring Kamala Harris. For Trump, I think he needs to go back to his messaging. He needs to remind voters that how his presidency was different from Biden and Harris presidency or administration, I should say, and how people were well off in his during his time, especially before COVID, and the economy was great, jobs were great. So I think he probably has to go back to that messaging to win back some voter confidence that he's lost since Kamala Harris has gained steam.
All right. Thank you, Rohit, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.